Welcome back to News for You with me, your girl, Kalwe Kalifungwa. In the headlines today, teenage pregnancies rampant in Hoima, Apple's new iPhone series, Google did what? This and more in the headlines. At Hoima Regional Referral Hospital, teenage girls account for 24% of all deliveries drawing from both Hoima city and surrounding areas. The hospital director highlighted that this trend is linked to gender-based violence and sexual abuse in the community. He emphasized that many of these young mothers undergo C-sections, contributing to emotional and psychological trauma. Now, the figures were presented during the launch of a year-long campaign in partnership with Health Promotions International, or HPI, aimed at preventing GBV and improving sexual and reproductive health. The government plans to establish GBV units in all referral hospitals by 2026. We've spoken about this so many times on the show, and honestly, I feel like we need a lasting solution, whether it be sex education or proper policies that need to be set in place in order to combat this issue, because these are young women who have their whole lives ahead of them. It's honestly just sad to see. So Google reportedly signed a $45 million contract with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's office to run a global advertising campaign via YouTube and Google's display platform. The campaign was explicitly labeled Hasbara and sought to dismiss reports of a famine in Gaza despite food and humanitarian aid being blocked since 2nd March of 2025. Additional spending included $3 million on X as well as $2.1 million on Outbrain, along with undisclosed amounts on Meta. The campaign also targeted UN agencies and pro-Palestine groups with smear messages. Critics, including UN officials and human rights groups, condemned Google's role in amplifying disinformation. First of all, guys, dismiss fake news. Inquire, verify, confirm. It doesn't take much, especially with this world that we currently live in with an oversaturation of information. Verify your sources. Look for credible leads. All I can say is we've seen the videos. The propaganda is not going to work. We've seen the videos. Do with that what you will. Prime Minister KP Sharma Oli resigned on 9 September 2025 amid youth-led anti-corruption protests speared by a controversial social media ban. The unrest has been described as Nepal's worst in decades. Protesters stormed and set fire to government landmarks including the Parliament, Singadu Bar, Supreme Court, and the PM's own residence, as well as homes of several senior politicians. So of course, army patrols were deployed under an indefinite curfew to restore order. So protesters' demands go beyond leadership change, calling instead for systemic change amid frustration over corruption, nepotism, censorship, and lack of opportunities for the youth. Now, I find this story particularly interesting, especially as a youth. This hits quite close to home for me. I mean, first we saw this happening earlier with Kenya, and obviously we're seeing this now. I think there's a general consensus and a general message that is trying to be sent by this generation, and that what I'm seeing from this is that they're not going to take these things lying down, because I mean, these are policies that are being imposed on our generation, and we're the ones who are going to have to deal with it. So this unrest, this level of unrest, the level of the magnitude of this situation just goes to show that maybe the Gen Zs are not going to take this lying down. I mean, we're fighting for ourselves because it seems like nobody else will fight for us. At its September 9, 2025 event, Apple unveiled several new products just in time for the holiday season. The biggest highlight was the iPhone Air, allegedly its thinnest iPhone ever, as well as the 17 series, which comes in the standard Pro Max models at, different price points. So Apple also introduced, which is very, very interesting, the AirPods Pro 3s, featuring improved sound, health tracking, language translation, and new smart features, plus an updated lineup of Apple Watches, including the Series 11, the Watch SE 3, and Watch Ultra 3 with added health and safety tools. I personally feel like Apple just be adding all these little bells and whistles to justify their ridiculous price points. However, I will be purchasing. I fall for it every time, every September. Well, that's all we have for you today, guys. Thank you for tuning in. Always remember, nobody is you and that is your power. And we'll see you tomorrow. Actually, I was gonna say next week, but I'll see you guys tomorrow.